So director Jeff Nichols reteams with actor Shannon for this intriguing science fiction film that has a bit of a tip of the hat stylistically to some sentimental favorites. This is Midnight Special. Along dark highways, a dedicated father, Roy, has gone on the run with his friend Lucas and young son Alton, a boy with mysterious powers that Roy himself cannot comprehend. What starts as a race from religious extremists and local law enforcement quickly escalates to a nationwide manhunt involving the highest levels of the federal government. Risking everything, Roy is committed to helping Alton reach his ultimate purpose, whatever that might be and whatever it costs, in a perilous journey that will test the bonds of love and trust and the very nature of their own faith. So Midnight Special here from writer-director Jeff Nichols is a film I've definitely been intrigued about for a good long while, ever since I saw the trailers for this back in January, just kind of teasing a very interesting and mysterious type of science fiction film with a certain interesting edge to it, because reading into the background about this film, because obviously I was so much intrigued about the trailers that didn't give away much, but gave me enough to really get me on the edge of intrigue, finding out that director Jeff Nichols was very much kind of going for a very sort of 1980s Steven Spielberg / John Carpenter vibe, especially with John Carpenter's Starman, really kind of tapping into a bit of a sort of 80s nostalgia in this type of way, that kind of style to it, a little bit of ambiance, a little bit of atmosphere, just that kind of intangible type of magic you got from films of that age, especially from those fantastically talented directors of multiple genres. I was definitely on the peak of interest going forward with this film, and just being so anxious about it, because it hit limited release, and then it really wasn't in Chicago for about another 2 weeks, and I had to drive all the way in the city to see this. It was kind of a mounting cost to go see this. So I was like, this film really better be worthwhile for the money I'm paying, the length I'm going to see this, and all that type of stuff. And I'm here to tell you that Midnight Special was very much an intriguing pleasure for myself, because this is definitely a science fiction film that isn't going to bog you down with 10 tons of exposition to kind of blatantly describe and try to explain all of its very fantastical concepts to you. That this is very much a film from the trailers, like I said, bit vague, bit mysterious, kind of leaving a lot of things up to the imagination, really kind of just tapping into something that's going to kind of fire off your synapses about the imagination, the intrigue this film really has for all its concepts. It's something that just like, you have to go forward with this film and give it a little certain amount of patience, because it is sort of a very slow build type of film, and it's like, I very much enjoyed a lot of the things that this film had to offer in the terms of how it was structured, how it's presented to the audience, that it kind of drops you off in the middle of all these characters and the progression of their story overall. That doesn't really kind of just start you off at the very beginning and tries to build all this stuff up little by little and create a very heavy type of film. It kind of drops you into the middle of their storyline, and you kind of have to kind of backfill the pieces of the storyline as the plot progresses and you get introduced to characters and slowly get their backstories and all their qualities and their traits kind of like slowly trickle into the film. So it's like, it keeps you interested, hooks you into the film a little bit at a time, and just keeps dropping little things here and there to kind of get you up to speed and kind of fill in the gaps as the story progresses, to understand where it's been and trying to move you forward and connect you with the characters as it moves forward with it all. And I thought, for one thing, the cast in this film is absolutely wonderful. And like I said, Jeff Nichols and Shannon worked together previously. This is their 4th time working together on a film, and it seems very obvious that obviously this is a very comfortable and very in-sync type of team here, that Shannon puts off a very good performance in this film, giving a lot of earnest quality to the character they portrays here of Roy, that just like this earnest fatherly type of yearning that he has to protect his son no matter what he is, no matter what he's going to become, whatever this path leads to. He's firmly committed towards being that figure for his son, whatever it takes. He brings forth a very tender type of emotionality here that doesn't go for anything that's too sappy, too overly done. It really kind of is just very well implied in great little moments that, as a filmmaker myself and someone who's also been a screenwriter as well, I kind of have a tendency to want to write a lot of dialogue, to have things kind of filter towards that. But it's always great to kind of remind myself and see other filmmakers and other screenwriters and stuff like that understand the ability of an actor to convey something without saying a word. And that is so well conveyed here with Michael Shannon's performance and so many other performances in this film. They bring forward so many great things without having to say something, that the performances are so good and the direction is so well on point that you get these moments in the film where just the emotionality, the way they convey things through their expressions and just their tenderness or various other things, you can just get the mood and the emotion and the depth of the characters in very minimalist type of ways. I thought that was a very well executed type of thing. And like I said, Michael Shannon's performance is very, very compelling in this film, just seeing how far this guy is committed towards protecting his very special son here. And I thought Joel Edgerton in this film, again, this guy is on such a fantastic streak of putting together some very solid performances. And his character of Lucas here really is got a lot of moments in the film that just show, again, a depth of humanity, a depth of emotion. There's certain moments of the film that really grab you with his character. But it's also great in this film that you do get they kind of open it up a little bit. They give little beats of humor here and there that just kind of like definitely make the audience chuckle a little bit. It just kind of adds that kind of break in the kind of serious tones going forward and all these types of things. It still has those moments to really kind of give you that humanity, give you that humor, that these characters can still find something in certain beats of the film and certain beats of their lives here to really kind of have those moments that just kind of breaks it up for you. And like Joel Edgerton's performance is just so very strong and just so very much on point, very good chemistry with Michael Shannon and various other people in the cast. They do very good work here, and I thought the character of Alton here, portrayed by Jaden Leberer, was a fantastic find here, because you see a lot of films where they have these child actors and they don't really have the quality, don't have the talent to really convey what the characters have to in the storyline. But fantastic performance from him. I thought he did a wonderful job holding up this character, which has a very unique quality to him overall, and just handling it with such a great maturity and weight. Just like he has such a sort of wisdom beyond his years here, that he definitely is experiencing something that is very much beyond human experience, something very otherworldly, very kind of supernatural, very paranormal, very different type of things that are very hard to grasp, but he handles everything so magnificently well. His performance here is just absolutely fantastic. I thought every beat he had was handled with so much confidence and so much great stature as well. He just holds every moment so well and just kind of has this sort of gravitas around him. All the emotionality, all the action in this film, everything that's happening is all swirled around him, and he just holds every moment up with such amazing magic. It definitely does kind of harken back to those Spielberg films where he was such a master of casting child actors, and this is absolutely no exception. It's exactly right in that wheelhouse of things. He does a fantastic performance here, and you also get someone like Kirsten Dunst here. It's just so good seeing her in this film, just doing such a very toned down but very affectionate performance here. I thought she did a very good job portraying the mother of that character in the film. So it's like so many great performances in this very kind of family dynamic of sorts that they have, which is very understated, very kind of nicely played with subtlety and everything, that you guys don't have to have everything kind of nailed into you, like this is the father, this is the mother, this is all the type of stuff. They don't have to be so explicit about things. It's a very much a film that just does treat its audience with a certain amount of intelligence, that they can be, it treats the audience as if they can pick up on little things and connect the dots themselves without having to being blatantly told what this is or what that is, and then use their imagination, use their intelligence to put things together as the film goes on. And that certainly applies to the character portrayed by Adam Driver here. I thought he did a fantastic, kind of interesting performance here as Paul Sevier, this sort of guy who is amongst all these government officials, all these government agents, and all the military and everything, are very much kind of possibly acting out a certain fear and certain intrigue or whatnot, but there's certainly a much more narrow focus among these people. But obviously, Adam Driver's character here has a much more wider vision about this whole thing. He has a different perspective on who this character of Alton has to offer here. He doesn't have the fear everyone else has. He has a great intrigue, a very great pull. He has a very open mind about it. And it's a very interesting character. They does also have, like I said, a few kind of humorous beats that just kind of just pepper in there. It's like he has a bit of an awkward nature to him, but it's just a great little performance that he puts together here with a little bit of subtle quirks and little things here and there that just kind of shows the humanity of this character, that he's not an enemy, that he can be a potential ally in a certain way. Just interesting how his character flows through the narrative and how his kind of connection builds with certain characters here, and just how all these characters really kind of weave and connect together in this whole thing, emotionally, ideologically, all these various things just kind of centered around this one kid of Alton here. Just so many good things are put together with the cast here and how these characters are portrayed and presented overall. I thought all the people in this cast really did a very fine performance here, and very well directed by Jeff Nichols. I thought his direction was, again, very understated, not so straight out and being very obvious. It brings you along on a journey that really requires your patience. It requires you to kind of go along a little bit at a time and pick up things, and just being aware of what the film is trying to build, and with its concepts and its characters and all its various things. I thought it was a very intelligent and very respectful and very admirable type of thing that he did with this film. One thing, though, I felt was a little underwhelming in the film was its cinematography here, because I thought the film could have used a little bit more punch to its visuals. I thought there's a few too many moments in this film where camera just stands still and doesn't do anything interesting. There are certain moments in the film, usually in a lot of the dialogue sequences, where it's just like they plop the camera down and they don't do anything. There's not a little push or move or something like that to make it a little more interesting, or kind of pull you further into the moment of the film, to really kind of highlight the dramatic quality that's going on in certain moments, or the certain pivotal, pertinent points of the storyline that really kind of amp up what the importance of these moments certainly are. It just feels like the cinematography by Adam Stone probably could have used a little bit more, because, again, you got Jeff Nichols saying he's very much inspired by Spielberg and John Carpenter, two guys whose films typically look absolutely fantastic, and especially John Carpenter. He always had fantastic cinematography, especially with the CinemaScope frame. It just seemed a little bit, for me personally, pulled me out of the film just a tad bit, because like it's just seeing a few little moments here and there that really could have been used to great effect if you just kind of had the camera do a little bit of something interesting in these moments. Just kind of, like I said, a little bit of motion, a little kind of a push in or dolly shot or something like that to really kind of give a little bit more of an intriguing visual quality to it. But there's still some very good visuals in the film, especially when there's some atmosphere to kind of lay in with the lighting, a little bit more mood or whatnot, a little bit darker visual, where it's kind of a dimmed down room, or a lot of the nighttime exterior shots or whatnot. They do highlight a very good visual style there. But in general, I thought some of the moments in the film could have used a little bit more, bit of sense of scope or whatnot. Just some moments to really kind of pull the camera back, or do something a little bit more dramatic with the camera to really kind of amp up a sequence to just kind of give it a little bit more of an impact overall. But certainly the visual effects of this film do come off very, very well. That some of them are a little bit more subdued and subtle, but everything that they do with the visual effects of Midnight Special are very well crafted and very good quality. And like I said, the film goes for a bit of a subtle, understated type of thing, so some people at the end of this film might feel that there's not a direct payoff for the storyline that it builds up here, because it is, again, allowing you to use an imagination, try to fill in what exactly all this stuff really means, but it's not so vague where you can't pick up on it. There's enough stuff given in what is explored in this film to really kind of understand what it is, but some people might feel like they want a little bit more a depth, a little bit more meaning to it all, to really kind of wrap it up in a little bit more of a lasting impact on everything overall. But it's really a story that is much less about the science fiction elements, more about the family, the emotion of it all, what the connections of these characters really are in depth and everything. Because one of the things that inspired Jeff Nichols into making this film was very kind of the fact that he became a father, really wanted to explore that element in depth in a certain way and kind of wrap it around this whole sort of science fiction concept that I think really does come off in a very interesting type of way that is very good. But like I said, some people might sit through the whole film, have the patience for it, but might not quite get as much impact for what it all means at the end of the whole thing. So that's really a sort of thing that's very subjective about the film. I thought there were a lot of very interesting things, very remarkable things that are explored throughout this whole film. And there's certainly the religious angle. We have this sort of religious ranch or whatnot, these people who are kind of gathered around the character of Alton, who are very much intent on having him brought back and everything, and all this type of stuff surrounding him that kind of bursts out into all this wider storyline and everything, which it doesn't quite get its payoff at the end of the whole thing, that it kind of starts off in a very wider type of thing with this whole religious group and whatnot, and really kind of doesn't kind of follow up on it later on. The film really kind of tied off to have what the resonance is with these people, but the main impact of the story really is, again, the core characters, with Michael Shannon's character and Joel Edgerton's Kirsten Dunst, and of course the character of Alton here as well, to really kind of get that sense of family, that emotion, what it means for these characters overall, to really kind of believe in this character of Alton and have that so much of a strong emotional connection with him. I thought that is very well pulled off, and if you go in the film knowing that much about the film, that it very much what its main focus really is, and you really kind of have this wider science fiction element surrounding the whole film, and really kind of embrace the all that it eventually has, I think you'll come out of this as a very satisfying experience, at least to a certain extent. And I think Midnight Special is a good film. That's not one of these science fiction films I've kind of not cared for in recent times, where it kind of is too ambiguous and leaves too much undesired and unfulfilled. I think this has a lot of stuff to really gain from it. Again, for the emotion, the performances overall, and really the heart this film brings forth as a very good sort of throwback in a certain way to those Spielberg and sort of a John Carpenter Starman type of vibe. Really kind of capture that humanity and filter it through these characters, and very good performances. And overall, I think Midnight Special is a very good film. Didn't love it, but I think it's a very good film that does stand up very well, and will certainly have thoughts rattling around in your head for a few days. So that's really all I have to say about Midnight Special. If you guys get the opportunity to see it, I would definitely suggest doing so. If you think anything that I've said very much piques your interest, definitely check it out. It's really a very interesting type of film that you get hooked into it with the characters. It will lead you along on a very interesting journey that hopefully will feel very fulfilling to you. So definitely post your comments below if you have had the chance to see it, because like I said, at the time I'm shooting this, it's only been out in limited release for about 2 weeks, recently expanding a little bit further. So hopefully you've had a chance to see it. If not, hopefully by the time it hits home video, you'll be checking this out and have a little bit more of a thought to post down below in the comments. So thanks guys for watching. It was kind of an interesting thing going into the city of Chicago here to see it at a very nice theater and have a good time of it. So it was a very good experience for me. So I was very pleased. The distance I went and the extra cost I paid to see it at that place was very well spent. So definitely a good thumbs up for me. Good recommendation. Check it out if you get the chance. So thumbs up on the video would be highly appreciated, guys. Spreading the links around the social media is also well appreciated. And I'll be back soon with something else very intriguing. So thanks guys for watching. Take care. Bye bye.